A little bit closer. We don't have a ton of people, so for the record, everyone is supposed to be home right now. This is not supposed to happen, but obviously we're going to stay. Just a quick introduction. I'm Jesse Fisher. I'm the president of Republicans United here at ASU. Vince out here. For those who don't know Vince, he's a great guy in the American First Movement. He's one of the guys that just knows how to talk about data and statistics, and just knows everything about it, and helps campaign try to fight against fraud. So he's one of the real Trumpers in the movement. So we're going to start, and I'm going to hand the mic off to Vince. So cool.
Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for those who drove out, too, from even far away. We got kicked out of the auditorium, as you know. This is the reason why I was waiting to share the link to this event until like the last minute, because I knew something like this was going to happen, and just to sort of like lessen those concerns, I waited until the very last minute to share the link to this event. But it seems like it still happened to us anyway. So we were in the auditorium, and of course they came up with all these ridiculous last-minute rules. It really sounded like they were really trying to kick us out, but just fun. Sort of doing it nicely, kicking us out nicely. But we're out here. I don't even know what this is called, like a terrace or something. We're in the lunchroom. We're doing a speech in the lunchroom here, and I want to talk about Republicans, and I want to talk about weak Republicans, and I want to talk about people who cave to the mob. Now, this isn't the ideal situation for me. I was hoping to have a podium, and I was hoping to have both my hands, but good evening, everyone. My name is Vincent James. I am a father of three, a Catholic and a conservative. I run a political podcast, and I'm the founder of theredelephants.com. I want to thank the College Republicans United for inviting me here today and welcoming me. Countless other Republican groups have done everything in their power to keep people like me away, simply because they're afraid of the reaction they might get from people who hate them. I have to say, I love the tagline underneath the name of your group, bringing real conservatism to Arizona State University since January of 2018. Let's be honest, real conservatives in this country are few and far between, and especially in the Republican Party. The GOP has conserved nothing aside from the generous checks coming from special interest groups and corporate donors who have rigged the very system that has drained this nation dry. There's a quote that's incorrectly attributed to Cicero, but nonetheless it's generally correct. It goes like this: "A nation can survive its fools, and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within." Now, treason by the Democratic Party and the institutions they have seized control of is expected. We expect the Democratic Party to be anti-American and against the values of the people who built this country. But treason by the Republican Party, unfortunately, was the more consistent theme in the 2020 election. The Republican Party was supposed to be our representation in government. They were supposed to be the opposing force to leftism, to globalism, to decadence, and to censorship. But the party that they were supposed to be has not existed for a very long time. All the betrayals by the Republican Party were endless in this election. At every single level, it was the Republican Party who stabbed us in the back, spit in our faces, and poured salt in our wounds. At every single level, it was the Republican Party who betrayed us. The Republican-controlled state legislatures had a chance to prevent the unconstitutional actions that took place in the 2020 election, but chose instead to do nothing. The Republican governors did nothing. The Republican Secretary of States did less than nothing, and some even made deals with the Democratic Party to see the ousting of President Trump through. The Republican-appointed judges and the Supreme Court justices threw out solid and legitimate cases because they were too afraid of the potential reaction they might get from Black Lives Matter and Antifa. House and Senate Republicans staged very theatrical and fake election challenges, which we all knew was a futile attempt to score political points with Trump supporters and fundraise through mass texting campaigns. Ted Cruz. After Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, Republicans saw it was too costly to continue their charade, so they used that as an out and reversed their objection to the votes, which they knew wasn't going to work anyway. Republicans then proceeded to throw their constituents to the media wolves and even called for their mass arrest. I want each and every one of you here today to never forget who let this happen to you. The traitorous, spineless, and worthless GOP. The now dead GOP. Because if there's anything that storming the Capitol accomplished, it was fast-tracking the inevitable destruction of the Republican Party. And this has been in the works for a while. After all the betrayals, all the disavowals, all of the genuflecting to the mob we have seen from the Republican Party, they are now finally getting what they deserve.
Yeah!
They have betrayed us on immigration, on trade, on foreign wars, on amnesties. They have done nothing about the millions of our sons and daughters dying from heroin overdoses in alleyways. Nothing about our crumbling infrastructure. Nothing about our children being indoctrinated in classrooms across the nation to hate this country and the patriots who founded it. In the past 3 months, the GOP has betrayed us more than in any point in history. After the election, they ignored calls to audit the ballots. They refused to call for a special session. Most of them even refused to show up for the election hearings. Those that did show up suggested that we fix the election issues in the next election. Then, despite widespread irregularities, they voted for the certification of the election in every single swing state. During the same month, they voted unanimously for Mike Lee's green card giveaway bill and voted to change the names of our military bases. That's right. They also refused to do anything about social media censorship. The GOP even once voted to block Trump's border wall. That's the GOP, by the way. The ones who are supposed to represent us. Republicans are constantly caving, apologizing, disavowing, and kissing the feet of their left-wing masters while the Democratic Party sticks together and wins.
That's right.
Yep.
We had a little bit of that today, didn't we, fellas? On January 9th, even Joe Biden said, quote, "We need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong." The Republicans should probably listen to his advice. The GOP seems to concede to the Democratic Party in every other proposal. Why not this? But Biden is right. The Democratic Party never caves. They never apologize. They never condemn riots or protests conducted by their own. They never cater to their opposition. And they never reprimand their own colleagues for their disgusting anti-American and anti-white rhetoric.
Yep.
And this is why they win. The Republicans, on the other hand, were quick to remove their colleague Steve King off committees after the New York Times lied about what he said. Republicans acted so fast to reprimand their colleagues for supporting President Trump and the challenging of the election. Every year, the Republican Party has moved further and further left, socially, culturally, and politically, kicking the can down the road while begging the Democrats and the media to go easy on them, begging their masters to stop beating them. It's pathetic. And this is why they constantly lose. But that era is over. President Trump created the biggest political movement in the history of this country, and the people in this movement are sick and tired of losers.
Yeah!
And the system is deathly afraid of the movement that Trump created, even more than Trump himself. They were successful at removing President Trump, but his movement lives on. The lifelong friendships he created will never be torn apart. The millions of people that he brought together across this nation are ready to win, even if that means they have to lay waste to the entire Republican establishment. The system tried to cut the head off the snake, but the snake will grow an even more vicious head with more dangerous fangs. This is why their goal is now to attempt to completely dismantle the movement. They are afraid of us, and this was further proven on January 7th when an ABC News political director accidentally told the truth. He said, quote, "The fact is that getting rid of Trump is the easy part. Cleaning up the movement he commands or getting rid of what he represents to so many Americans is going to be something else." Right now, the institutions atop the power structure of the American regime, which include the media, big tech, academia, mega corporations, and left-wing NGOs, are attempting to do just that. This reaction is the empire striking back. It is an attempted purge of the movement that President Trump created and the destruction of what President Trump represents. But the counter-assault we are seeing by America's institutions is an overreach. And this overreach will eventually backfire. Make no mistake, it's going to get dark for us. They will continue to back us into the corner, but it's only a matter of time until we reach that wall. With every institution on Joe Biden's side ready to be weaponized, some more powerful than ever before, what Americans experience under the Obama administration will feel like a cakewalk. With Kamala Harris as VP, gun rights organizations dying out, and the anti-gun allies Biden has already placed around him, the threat to the Second Amendment will be more real than ever before. With coronavirus lockdowns, millions of pending evictions, the coming end to fracking, and certain new wars in the Middle East, Biden will preside over a down economy and a nation at war once again. Regardless of how hard they try, though, the movement Trump created will never die. It will only grow stronger, awaiting to be activated. If the regime thought that the Tea Party and Trump was a right-wing reaction to Barack Obama, they haven't seen anything yet. Woo! Yeah! The political climate has long been a powder keg, and we have drawn attention to this repeatedly. Confidence in our institutions, especially in the mainstream media, is at an all-time low. And faith in America's institutions is what political scientists say, the glue that holds society together. The pendulum will swing back harder than they can ever imagine. The movement Trump built will eventually transform into a more right-wing version, even more capable of challenging the institutions. But the system is well aware of this political outcome. And time is working against us. The electoral winter induced by the demographic change of this country is fast approaching. And to speed this up, our new illegitimate president, Joe Biden, has promised to halt all deportations, allow our border to be flooded, and grant amnesty to the 22 million illegal aliens here in this country. Whoa! So the time for a toothless Republican Party is over. Woo! Yeah! The party of Mitch McConnell, Marco Rubio, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Dan Crenshaw, Ted Cruz, and the rest of the fake right needs to be destroyed. And the America First movement is going to fill that void. Hell yeah.
It's inevitable. America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first!
America first!
All right. The 2020 election and the events on January 6th truly revealed who is with us and who is against us. Tens of millions of Trump supporters across the country are feeling disenfranchised, alone, and betrayed by effectively every single Republican in government. People like us are going to need to step up and primary every last Republican traitor on that list. People like us who will never genuflect to the mob. No. People like us who will never apologize for supporting someone or something that they truly believe in. No. Loyalists. Woo. True believers. Yeah. Nationalists. Yeah. As the media and big tech are busy labeling every conservative in this country as an insurrectionist, a seditionist, or a And the potency of these labels has weakened, obviously. Your group, the College Republicans United, have shown that this is true. You were unified in your decision to have me as a speaker here today. On a cold terrace in the rain. At least you have a roof for it. Gab, Telegram, and BitChute, which were all considered to be racist platforms just 3 months ago, are now being flocked to by millions of conservatives nationwide. Don Jr. and many elected Republicans are now even migrating to these platforms. As we all get pushed further and further into the darkest corners of the internet, crowded around our respective soapboxes within the digital public town square, our message is reaching more conservatives than ever before. And our message of America First is more palatable and imperative than ever before.
Yes.
President Trump was right when he said that the system was rigged. He was right when he said that Republicans are weak and that they don't want to win. America First is the answer. This is an opportunity. Make no mistake, this is an opportunity for a genuine grassroots right-wing movement to rise up and take the reins. A right wing that will serve the people and not spend our career shilling for foreign lobbies and foreign governments. A right wing that will stand against things like mass migration, which has led to a $500 billion loss to American workers and an almost irreversible separation between wages and the GDP. A right wing that will stand against foreign wars, not only in rhetoric, but in action. A right wing that will not sell your nation out to the highest bidder, destroy your livelihood with lockdowns, and then send you a $600 check for your troubles. A true conservative movement that is openly against puberty blockers being doled out to our children, the unchecked access to pornography that is poisoning the minds of our sons, and that pushes back against the true pandemic of moral degeneration that threatens the sustainability of our society. A movement that calls for a return to the regulation of morality and widespread prosecution of every adult involved in the over-sexualization of our children.
Lock them up! Lock them up! Lock them up!
Lock them up! Lock them up! Lock them up! Lock them up!
We need a right wing that truly recognizes what being conservative is about. True conservatism is not about low taxes or the GDP. It's not about protecting liberty. It's not about individual liberty or the free market, as Turning Point USA would have you believe. Conservatism is first and foremost about order. And frankly, we are living in a very disordered and chaotic America. It's not socialism versus capitalism. It's the people versus the rigged system. It's the people versus the big tech oligarchs in Silicon Valley that help to rig this system and are cracking down on us harder than the federal government can even dream of. It is the people versus the corporations that have more power than every single government combined, and were the only beneficiaries to the destructive lockdowns that have led to more death than the virus itself. It is the people versus the mainstream media who have destroyed the lives of thousands of Trump supporters across the country and convicted them when the federal government wasn't able to. It is the American people versus the extremely powerful foreign lobbies and political NGOs like the ADL and the SPLC, which are on the front lines of the digital crackdown happening to us right now.
That's right.
The same digital crackdown that has led to the censorship of even the President of the United States of America. The GOP knows that they have been exposed for the spineless traitors that they are. They know that their time is short, and so they're going to try to attempt a rebrand. They will call it the Patriot Caucus, or the Freedom Party, or they'll even attempt to co-opt the America First name. have fallen for the charade for decades upon decades. But today the people see more clearly than ever before. They might be able to take out President Trump, but the movement and the lifelong friendships that he has created will never die. And we are in this for the long haul. It may seem impossible, but if I can plagiarize President Trump for a moment here, it might inspire you. If I give you one message to hold in your hearts today, it's this. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make real and lasting change. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. You must always keep pushing forward. Thank you, everyone, for having me here today, even though it's not preferred circumstances. I don't know if we're supposed to be doing questions or not, but it's kind of cold out here, so maybe not. But I want to thank you guys all for having me here today. Thank you for standing strong. I know that, other Republican, college Republican groups have pushed me away and pushed others like me away. I know that you had some issues with internally, an internal struggle about having me here today, but it wasn't too big of a deal for me. I'm only like 5 hours away. But thank you all for coming. America first.
America first! America first! America first! America first! America first!
America first! America first! America first! America first!
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm not sure if we can really stay here for much longer. I don't want to get caught up by the security